So we are running back a Gruul vehicles list that I've been using to grind to Mythic this month. Very similar to its Pioneer counterpart. Really, I don't think anything is different other than a lot of lists are running 3 copies of Mutavault. We're choosing to run 2. 2 copies of Den, 3 copies of Lair. You start out with your early accelerants, Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves. Scavenging Ooze here is twofold. It's a 2-drop threat. Some people run Werewolf Pack Leader in this slot just to be more aggressive, but this kind of serves the purpose of fighting against Greasefang in particular. Obliterating Bolt, just kind of your primary removal spell in the format, deals with a lot of X4s and less. Everything from old growth trolls to most humans like Adeline if they aren't pumped, etc. This only downside, obviously, this being sorcery. Nice part, it does hit planeswalkers. The rest of the list, 4 Bonecrusher Giant, kind of the staple, allows you to go 1 to 3. Also a removal spell for dorks and smaller creatures. Reckless Stormseeker, really the heart and soul of the deck. This is what makes this deck really competitive. Even in matchups where you're going to be overwhelmed, like blue-white control or fires, this allows you to potentially have enough pressure to end the game and win the game. Lovestruck Beast and Miglos. Lovestruck Beast, obviously, just a very solid beater, as well as a way to kind of stem the bleeding in the board. Can create a 1/1 with Heart's Desire. And then Miglos, whatever, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. 4/4 with a bunch of utility. You can use it to remove artifacts and enchantments. You can make it a 6/6. You can give it Vigilance and Menace. A lot of things you can do with it if you have the mana to spare, although oftentimes we're tapping out almost every turn, at least for the first 4 or 5 turns. Akroan War, this is kind of the game breaker against Rakdos and the Mirror Match, as well as Mono Green. Really the card that allows you to deal with things like Shieldred, Cavalier Thorns, etc., and have a prayer in those matchups. Chariot and Skysovereign, your biggest things against Rakdos. This provides a bunch of bodies, threatens the opponent very quickly. Skysovereign kills most creatures in the format, flies over everything else, pressures planeswalkers, etc. Gives some of your creatures pseudo haste, especially if you don't have a Reckless Stormseeker in play. The real nut curve of this deck is 1 drop into Reckless Stormseeker into Esika's Chariot. With that draw, you can potentially kill on turn 4, because you go hit for 3, hit for 9, and then you have more than enough power on the board to finish the opponent off. So this deck does have a nut draw, an aggressive nut draw, although it is not as frequent as some of the aggressive decks, obviously. Land base, obviously, Den of the Bugbear, Lair of the Hydra, Mutavault, very good against controlling decks that are trying to kill you, etc. Sokenzan and Boseiju, they're kind of free to run as, pseudo mountains and forests, while also having utility in some spots. Copperline Gorge, it's just the best land in the deck the first couple of turns. And then, Stomping Grounds, Pathways, make sure your mana balances out because you do have a fairly mana-heavy deck. Does sound like my computer's about to blow up, but I don't really stream Arena usually, so I'm sure it's not very happy with the requirements right now. As far as the sideboard, Jegantha, get to run that as a companion, although when you board an Embercleave, you will not have access to Jegantha. Rending Volley, this is just the primary utility removal spell on the sideboard. It's good against spirits, angels, humans, and good against Greasefang. And you can bring it in sometimes against blue-white or Fires decks, depending on what their creature suite is. It's a lot more efficient removal spell than Obliterating Bolt and Akroan War in those matchups. Allows you to deal with Shark Typhoon tokens, Emperor tokens, etc. Scavenging Oozes and Unlicensed Hearses, primarily here for any type of Greasefang nonsense. Arlen, this is kind of a 5th pseudo Chariot. Allows you to kind of have this mid-range game plan without, having too many copies of a legendary permanent. Shaper's Sanctuary, good for removal-heavy decks. Can board in against blue-white, but mostly you're bringing this in against Rakdos and Rakdos-style decks. Cindervines punishes control decks, punishes the various enchantment decks is also a disenchant on a stick, in addition to the stack ability dealing damage. Ember Cleave, you bring this in when you have to race. It's not as relevant in the Explorer format as it is in full Pioneer, but still important against decks like Mono Green, allowing to punch through that damage before the game gets over. Really, this is for more the Explorer format when you're facing down Lotus Field and you have to combo or kill them as quickly as possible, and something like Skysovereign is just not as good. But overall, you generally bring this in against decks where you're just trying to power through a bunch of blockers, or you're in racing situations and Skysovereign's not particularly good, so primarily mono green, but you can also bring this in against like blue-white and stuff when you need a little bit more threats, or decks like Fires that can just go over top of you if the game takes too long. Once again, we don't normally play Arena, but I feel it's close enough. Just can't keep his hand. No acceleration. We're on the draw. Or no, we're on the play, but the hand just too clunky. This hand, not great, but we'll probably keep it. Although the mana is just terrible, so we have Obliterating Bolt and the Reckless Stormseeker. Do we do this, or do we risk going to 5? I feel like we risk going to 5. This hand just... if we miss on a color, we're going to have an awkward hand. Alright, this hand is reasonable. Put back. Land. We at least have the potential curve out here. Even if they kill our dork, we still have Stomp into Bonecrusher if we rip a land. So, Overgrown Tomb. Maybe Greasefang? No, we are up against a brew. Looks like some style of Hardened Scales nonsense. Alright, Apprentice, sure. Okay, well, it's got a bunch of stuff. Question is, okay, what does Iron Apprentice do? Counters, put those counters on target creature you control. Interesting that they played Boseiju. Pass. Fortunately, they're going to be able to trade for Skyboat here, so why that card has reach, I don't know. So what's the best attack here? I think we crew. Turn to Luke and not attack with this. So crew with this. Like that. Maximize pressure we put on our opponent, force them to throw away some creatures here before Fiend Artisan can start getting out of hand with Hangerback Walker. Problem is, while we're very good at punching through one of creatures, we're not particularly good at fighting through a ton of random dorks. Take the 7. For X equals 2, or are they getting another Constrictor? Yeah. Alright, as interesting as this game is, I'm just going to move on to the sideboard games because my opponent's taking their sweet ace time to figure things out. Bringing these. Bringing Embercleave. Akroan War is potentially okay against them. I'm familiar with the username Jaffer. I'm not sure why, though. But props to them for working on a deck that's not exactly tier, but at the same time, they are very deliberate with their game actions, and sometimes that just it isn't worth sitting through the minuscule chance that we could have won that game once they got that hangerback walker off for 7 or 8. It's kind of hard to punch through. So it's got no lands, so it's an easy mull. This hand isn't great, but we're already on mulligan to 6, so I'll put back a Chariot. Power of this deck's definitely in the 1-drop starts. Better than holding up Stomp. Does our opponent block? They do not. Play out Lovestruck Beast here. Could have played Reckless Stormseeker and got in for more damage, but then they would have been able to block here. Double Constructor is just absurd. Alright, so do this. Yep, hangerback walker for 4. Cat token. Guess I should have attacked with human, then this would be lethal, I guess. Artisan, Steel Overseer. push on the 1/1. Tapped a little bit. All right. You know you're dead, right? All right. Let's see if you have a plan for Embercleave in post-board games here. Still don't think Akroan War is where we want to be. Another copy of Skysovereign on the draw over... I don't even know. But I guess Hardened Scales would be a good reason to have Embercleave in your sideboard. Although I've played probably 300 plus matches between Explorer and Pioneer in the last like 3 or 4 months, and don't think I've ever seen Hardened Scales as a deck. So well, this hand drew an elf, it would be insane. But can we risk that on the draw especially? Don't think so. I think this hand has to be a mulligan. That said, if our opponent goes to 6, we might keep it. Just because there's several draws that become very good with this hand. We'll try it. Thoughtseize? Nope, Stone Coil Search, sure. Well, at least we have a play for next turn if they have, like, Constrictor. Okay. Very much willing to make this trade. They, however, are not. With access to 5 mana. Wait, why would you not? No attacks. No reason to attack, I should say. Start to pressure our opponent here. And they scoop. Nice. I don't even know if they knew for sure that we had Embercleave, but whatever works, right? This hand got an interaction, so we'll try it. It's more aggressively, so maybe Grace Fang. Need some lands because it looks like we're up against mono green. By lands, I don't mean drawing turn whatever elf. Okay, so Paradise Druid, sure. Here's our best play here. Chariot. Swing low, sweet Chariot. Opponent could have Karn this turn. Questing Beast. Sure. Wait. What? Why would you attack with that? That seems like a punt. It's gonna hold up Stomp. We have no reason not to. What is it with people playing Questing Beast in their green decks? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic card, but not really in mono green midrange or mono green devotion and Gruul vehicles. Things get a little bit awkward against mono green. Like, Embercleave's a fine card. Trimming on vehicles is alright because, like, leaving in Scavenging Ooze is fine against Storm the Festival, but it's also very slow and clunky, especially since our dorks are going to live. So I think we'll try it like this. I trim a bit on the vehicles simply because Karn can shut them down so easily. I kept a 7-card hand. This hand is very... I mean, it's okay. I think we'll keep it, but we probably could mulligan to a dork. Okay, or we can just draw one and our hand goes into God mode. What kind of deck is our opponent playing? Okay. Alright, so we're just going to take this opportunity to finish off Kiora. Since I did not keep accelerators. Kiora's fine. Alright, and our mono green opponent scoops. So they kept some very sketchy hands. Like game 1, I understand mulliganing to 5. You can't try to mulligan to a dork at that point, but alright, we'll try one more match tonight. Hopefully it'll be a quick one rather than like our Hardened Scales opponent. Next round to play. I got one drop into Miglos, so sure. Against KTVII. Alright, turn one Fatal Push. Nope, turn one Thoughtseize. Guess I'm going to take an Obliterating Bolt. Nope, took a copy of Miglos. Alright. So I want a black. Clearly has a removal spell here. So we'll go ahead, turn up the heat. What are you killing? Oh, that's hecka awkward for them. Destroy target creature with no counters on it. That is very random. Bye, Skysovereign. Yep. Does the opponent have a land for Shouldered? No, but they could have discard a card, Fatal Push. Just exactly looks like what they're doing. Alright, well that's a pretty decent one to draw onto. Okay. Fable, sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Like to trim Dorks, bring in Shaper's Sanctuary, bring in Arlen. Scooze is middling. Like if they don't have Kroxa, it's really kind of middling. That really is only good if they have vehicles, which they usually don't. Embercleave, you don't really want to bring Embercleave in against the removal spell deck. Just kind of turned it into a slugfest a little bit. So. I think I just entered 61 cards. Oops. One lander, all 4 drops. Seems about right. Seems fine. Which one am I putting back here? Oop. Yep, that's like perfect for what we're trying to set up for here. Annoying if they have Graveyard Trespasser, but Fable, that's acceptable. I think we go Obliterating Bolt into Dork. Dork, we don't really care, lives or dies. Obviously, the worst thing that can happen for us here is Sheoldred. They had the Trespasser. You think you would have deployed that rather than the, Okay, sure, yeah, Thoughtseize. Goodbye, Scott. Oh. They took Esika's Chariot. That can't possibly be right. Alright, so we were hoping to get a little lucky. Got it. Not land, but we'll do. Probably not sacrificing that blood token. Sure. I think we'll just play Bonecrusher Giant here. Could like done like a bluff attack, but they're literally nothing that hits for 1 damage that would have done any good, so. We have Sheoldred. Liana of the Veil. Sure. Still don't know if our opponent has push or a removal spell. Guess we'll find out here in a sec. I mean, Why wouldn't you... Oh, I guess you can't technically sacrifice a blood token with Fatal Push being the only card in hand. Yeah, that's fine. Like to rip one of my finest Akroan Wars, please. Puts me to 1, but 1 is not dead. I think we're just dead anyway because of Hive, but so we can't afford to attack. So if they fire up Hive, we take 2, go to 1, draw a card, go back to 3, all of their creatures die? We're on Knight. Okay. Go to 1. Can we threaten lethal here? Kill this. Cast creature spells at each creature enters battlefield. Look at So do this, kill here. I think we can put them to 1. But 1 is not 0, unfortunately. Pretty sure we're 1 short. Yep, pretty sure I can figure out how to win from there. Yep, went to cut one of those. Can be awkward in multiples. As a 1-of, they're usually pretty good. One last game to decide it all tonight. So I need to play first. Don't think we can keep the 5-lander, unfortunately. His hand's alright. Back one of the Stormseekers. Really do need to draw a 3rd land. Go. Alright, well. It's not the best of cards, but it's not the worst of cards. Good chance this just dies, but so I'd like to draw a card. Blood Tithe Harvester, sure. Could have used Stomp on that potentially, but hopefully our opponent doesn't have a removal spell, but Yep, shouldered. Ironically, we have good discard fodder. Alright. Do you have a way to kill Skysovereign? Alright. Goes to 5. Goes to 7. That is a May effect, my friend. So opponent would have to have removal spell plus. So we're just gonna go for attempt to go for lethal here. Close match. That is a May effect, kind sir, ma'am, and you are dead. Have a nice day. Nice 3-0 run with Gruul. That sign off for tonight. We had a nice run. Probably our final run with Gruul in Mythic this season, at least on video. Like I said, on the Explore channel, we'll be doing Blue-White Control next month. So hope to see you for our next video and to see you for the next stream, which will be back to Sunday nights. Thank you, and see you for the next one.